Go.
So, how do you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror? Do you actually like your reflection, or do you see a lot of flaws that you wish you could change in your own body? Even if some of you might say that you actually enjoy what you see, this is not true for a lot of us. There are a lot of people that look at themselves in the mirror and all they can see are their flaws. And this can be prejudicial to their health because this can lead them to having eating disorders as a way to control their weight and their appearance. And this is what I'm going to be talking about today. You'll learn about what are eating disorders, what is one of the main causes, the group that is the most affected by it, and why it is so dangerous. According to the Gale Encyclopedia of Diets, eating disorders are mental disorders. So it's when you have an unrealistic view of your body and then you engage in a destructive eating behavior that is prejudicial to your health. And there are two main types of eating disorders, anorexia and bulimia. Anorexia is when you starve yourself so you don't eat enough and you get undernourished. And bulimia is when you do eat, but then right after you throw up because you're guilty about what you ate. According to the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders, or ANED, around 9% of the worldwide population suffers with eating disorders. This is about 630 million people. And 4 out of 10 individuals have either personally experienced an eating disorder or know someone who has. So these are a lot of people. And the group that is the most affected is preteens, teenagers, and emerging adults from both sexes. So, also according to ANED, the biggest group is from ages 11 to 20. And this is interesting because this involves our age range. So, it's something that affects us and the people around us here at Pepperdine. So, why have younger people been suffering with eating disorders? What has been one of the main causes? And the answer is body image issues. According to a study from Connecticut College, whenever you reach an age that you start to like another person and have a romantic interest, that's when you start to have appearance, like be more self-conscious about your appearance, and then you want to look good. And then a lot of people start to engage in unhealthy habits such as fasting, skipping meals, vomiting, smoking cigarettes to control their weight and appearance and to look good. Another research led by postdoctoral researcher Caroline Kors. She is a this research is about investigating the relationship between weight and appearance related discrimination and eating disorders. So whenever someone comes up to you and says something negative about your appearance and weight, how does this relate to the development of eating disorders? And this study demonstrated that if you suffer this type of discrimination, then you are 1.26 to 2.15 times more likely to have eating disorder symptoms than someone who doesn't. So this study shows a direct correlation between body image as a cause for eating disorders. So one thing that is dangerous about having an eating disorder is because we are all naive enough to think that if there's someone in our lives that is suffering with eating disorders, we think that we would know that. We think that we would realize their symptoms, but this is not actually true. According to Dr. Yulene, a specialist in preventive medicine, she says that people who struggle with eating disorders, they're actually secretive about it. So they do whatever they can to hide their symptoms from their family and friends. And one thing that she mentions is that people actually use baggy clothes to try to like hide the fact that they're really thin. So you can see someone wearing a sweatpants or a sweatshirt and think that they look healthy, but in reality they might look like this, which is dangerous. So now a personal testimony about a person who actually struggled with eating disorders at a really young age. Sean Kensfield, he was an athlete and he started to struggle with anorexia when he was only 14 years old. And he started taking care of his appearance like in a bad way, in unhealthy methods, and he stopped eating. So this is interesting what he said about how he hid those symptoms from his family. I tried as hard as my eating disorder brain would let me to act normal. I would eat normal amounts of food in their presence, his parents, and then restrict everywhere else. I tried very hard to throw a shade over their eyes. So this is exactly what Dr. Yulin said. He was trying to hide his symptoms and not make it seem like he had a disease. And also, according to Dr. Yulin, this can be really dangerous because having an eating disorder and not realizing the early symptoms can lead you to be hospitalized. So when people who struggle with bulimia, they have stomach and esophagus inflammation. And people who suffer with anorexia, the low calorie intake associated with that can lead them to have a disruption of liver and kidney functions. So they can get hospitalized because of that, and this makes having eating disorders even more dangerous. So to conclude, as you can see, eating disorders are really dangerous. Around 90% of the worldwide population suffer with this. And the main group that suffers with those type of diseases are preteens, teenagers, and emerging adults. And one of the main reasons for that is because of body image issues. So they start to care too much about their weight and their appearance, and that's when they engage in unhealthy behaviors to reduce their weight. And it can be dangerous to have eating disorders because, as I said, if you don't realize the early symptoms before, it's going to be hard to treat and you can get hospitalized because of that. So, what can you do to help people who struggle with eating disorders? The National Association of Eating Disorders is a nonprofit that raises awareness about eating disorders and their dangers, and they raise funds to invest in prevention programs. So there are three ways that you can help them. You can donate, so you can help them financially. Just go with any amount, just going to their website and donating. You could volunteer, so if you want to actually devote some time to this cause, you could go and help them, or you can join walks. They have a walk, I believe, in December 5th, December 5th, that you can go to, and it's just a good way for you to meet new people and meet people who struggle with eating disorders and learn a little bit more about what those actually are and how to realize the symptoms early on. So it's December 5th in the Los Angeles area. If you go to their website, they'll have all the information for you. So whenever you're looking at yourself in the mirror again and seeing all your flaws and everything that you want to change in yourself, just remember what I said about eating disorders and how this is really dangerous, how this can lead you to be hospitalized. And I'd like to leave you with a quote from a book, Coraline, from Neil Gaiman. Mirrors are not to be trusted. Thank you.